All right, let's jump right in. The world of AI moves at a crazy speed, right? And it can be tough to separate what actually matters from all the noise. Well, this week, three big stories really stood out. A secret AI model that has governments on red alert, a public that's torn between fear and actually using this stuff, and a quiet revolution that's putting some serious power right onto your home computer. Let's connect the dots.
So, things kicked off this week with a story that sounds like it's straight out of a Hollywood thriller. You've got the top financial regulators in the US calling an emergency meeting with the heads of the biggest banks. But they weren't talking about interest rates or the economy. Nope. They were talking about a single, unreleased AI model. So, what on earth could cause that level of panic in that kind of room? Well, it's a model from Anthropic called Claude Mythos, and it represents a whole new kind of cybersecurity threat.
And to really get why everyone's freaking out, you've just got to look at this jump in performance. In tests where they asked these models to find security holes in software, the last top model, Claude Opus, had a success rate of about 14%. Not bad, but Mythos, it's hitting 83%. That's not just a little better, that's a whole new ballgame.
And look, this isn't just some lab experiment. The security holes it found are in real-world software that we all use. We're talking about a bug that's been hiding in NVIDIA software for 16 years, another one in a core operating system that's been there for 27 years, and even a Linux bug that could give an attacker total control of a machine. These are vulnerabilities that human experts have missed for decades.
But like any big story, there's another side to this. On one hand, you have the official reaction, these emergency meetings, the creation of a new group called Project Glasswing, so companies can use Mythos to find their own bugs. But on the other hand, a lot of people in the tech community are pumping the brakes a bit. They're pointing out that the tests were run with some key security settings turned off. And, oh yeah, it cost about 20 grand in computer time to find just one of these exploits. And this quote from the tech channel Fireship just nails the overall vibe perfectly. The point isn't that this thing is going to end the world. It almost certainly won't. The real takeaway is that this is a huge, undeniable leap forward in what AI can do, even if it's not Skynet just yet. So, when you have these new capabilities showing up so fast, how are people actually reacting? Well, that brings us to our next theme, this wild mix of serious anxiety and surprisingly practical adaptation.
Let's start with the anxiety part, which got pretty scary this week. An incendiary device was actually thrown at the home of OpenAI's CEO, Sam Altman. Thankfully, nobody was hurt, but Altman's response was really interesting. He talked about the power of words and narratives, basically pointing out how the heated online arguments about AI are starting to spill over into real-world violence.
But then you see the complete opposite of that fear. Check out this comment from a Reddit user. It tells a totally different story. This isn't about AI taking their job. It's about AI taking on the boring tasks. This person is using AI to handle the repetitive, routine 80% of their work, which frees them up to focus on the 20% that requires actual human creativity and judgment.
And what this person is talking about, it actually has a name, agentic workflows. It's this idea that AI isn't just for answering questions anymore. It can now handle entire multi-step processes on its own. Drafting emails, analyzing data, the whole shebang. It's the engine behind that 80-20 split we just saw. And this kind of adaptation isn't just happening with individuals. It's getting written into the official rules of some of the most important projects on Earth. The Linux kernel just came out with its policy on AI. You can totally use AI to help you write code, but you, the human developer, have to personally sign off on it. The principle here is crystal clear. A human being has to be accountable. Now, while the big labs are building these huge, kind of scary models, there's this whole other revolution happening at the same time. All of this incredible power is actually flowing right back down to us, the users. I mean, just look at the tools popping up for running AI on your own computer. It's exploding. There are new tools that let a model on your laptop search the internet without sending any of your data to the cloud. There are simple web interfaces that help you optimize models for your specific computer. And the result of all this is that we're seeing new techniques that slash memory usage, letting you have these long, complex conversations with a powerful AI on a regular old PC. Okay, speaking of home computers, this number made a ton of waves this week and shocked a lot of people. -60%. What in the world could that possibly be? Well, it's the performance hit that the community discovered in NVIDIA's brand new top-of-the-line graphics card.
So it turns out there was a deep software bug in NVIDIA's own code that was basically crippling their new RTX 5090, causing it to lose up to 60% of its power on key AI tasks. But here's the real kicker. It wasn't NVIDIA that found it first. It was the user community. They figured out the problem and released a fix before the company even officially said anything. That's the power of a decentralized community. And this community power, it's scoring some huge wins. For the very first time, an open source model, this one's called GLM 5.1, has officially beaten all the big, closed, expensive models like GPT and Claude on a major professional test for writing code. And it does it for less money. Okay, so what does this all mean? When the open source world is catching up this fast and the power is shifting to everyday users, what does the future of AI even look like? That brings us to the big picture questions. So let's start with the big one. For years, the main strategy has just been to build bigger and bigger and bigger models. But new research is suggesting we're hitting a wall. We're getting diminishing returns, where just adding more size isn't giving us those same massive breakthroughs anymore. And if bigger isn't always better, that leads to this pretty brutal warning for anyone trying to build an AI product. It's this idea of the AI product moat. Basically, if your whole business is just a pretty face on top of somebody else's AI model, you're in a really dangerous spot. The second a better, cheaper model comes along, your entire company could be wiped out overnight. So, what are the smart companies doing? They're changing how they build things. They're using this cheap executor expensive advisor model. They use fast, inexpensive AIs for all the high-volume routine stuff. And only when a really tough problem comes along does it get kicked up to the big, expensive, powerful advisor model. And apparently, this approach is doubling performance while also cutting costs. So this is where all of today's stories really come together, isn't it? We've got models that are so powerful they can find flaws that are decades old, but at the same time, the tech is becoming so accessible that the open source community can beat the giants. The AI itself is becoming a commodity. And that leaves us with the single most important question in the entire industry. When the magic is available to everyone, what actually creates lasting value? Is it the data? Is it user trust? Is it just being the best at plugging this into our lives? That's the puzzle everyone is now scrambling to solve.